So my name is Sam Dubé, and it's my pleasure to be here today in honor of the Ottawa Book Expo in conjunction with the Ottawa Fair. This is an event that's to be held October 20th, that's a Sunday, starting at 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. The admission is free, and it will be in the Horticulture building at Lansdowne Park. And it's going to be right next to the Ottawa Farmers Market. So make sure you check that out. Now, although the admission is free, if you want a souvenir pamphlet, actually, of all the authors, that will cost you $20. So we hope to see you there.
So in honor of the Ottawa Book Expo and the Ottawa Fair, we have with us today one of the participating authors. This is our featured author, Laurie Campbell. Laurie, it's a pleasure to have you here today. Thanks for coming out. And who is this?
Oh, this is my friend Jack. He's one of my writing assistants. Hi there.
Hello, Jack.
Hello there.
Nice to meet you, Jack.
Nice to meet you, Sam.
So, Laurie, we'd like to find out a little bit more about you and your work.
Okay.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your life before you ever wrote a book?
Well, I was raised in a farm in the Ottawa Valley, and I was raised by a family of storytellers. My grandfather, my grandmother, my aunts and uncles, my father. That was the entertainment around the dinner table, the stories. So I went to school, became a librarian for 30 years at Carleton University, taught legal studies. What makes you think I'd be an author after that? But anyways, I took early retirement due to health reasons, and I started illustrating, and the next thing you know, I was telling stories again, and here I am.
I thought you looked familiar. I have a background at Carleton University as well.
Go away!
Yeah, absolutely. I was faculty there for over a decade.
Which department?
I was in the School of Mathematics and Statistics.
Oh, I didn't do numbers.
Actually, no, that's okay. That's okay. But that's why you look familiar. So, and I remember your voice actually distinctly.
Aw, shucks, Jack. Isn't that wonderful?
Now, what inspired you to start writing children's books?
Well, I've always been interested, A, in children, B, in nature and environment, and I read a lot of folklore when I was a child. So write about what you know. So that's what I decided to write about. I first started to write these stories for adults, actually. And the subtitle is A Little Tale for Big People. And it was really for adults I was writing this. I was serializing like Charles Dickens. And people said, more story, more color, bigger pictures. So then I workshopped with some teachers, and then someone finally said, get on with it and get it published. So then that was the next step to get it self-published.
Okay, well, I was perusing some of your work here, and one of the titles caught my eye, Captain Cass and the Race for the Moon.
Yes.
And so, yeah, thank you, Jack. And I was looking through this, and so you do both the writing and the illustration.
Yes, I do.
And can you tell us a little bit about the challenges of doing both
Well,
simultaneously?
they go hand in hand. It's like research for a book, you write, and do some more research, and you write. Same thing with illustrating and writing. You start off with a storyboard, and you write the story, and then you get the idea about children and how many words they can digest in their tummies. And you think, oh, I need a break here. I got to add some more pictures just to break out the text. Because these books are longer in format than a picture book or chapter book. So you have to have lots of pictures to help break up the text. I average between 20 and 30 illustrations.
Okay, wow. And you mentioned, obviously, writing and the illustrations go hand in hand. And can you tell us then, what are the distinct advantages of doing both? You mentioned, I asked you about the challenges, but what about the advantages?
Well, advantages is that I'm more a visual person, actually. As I get older, I'm a photographer. So that's how I see life, is in pictures. And I think a lot of children like pictures and see the world through pictures before they see words. They watch cartoons on TV and whatnot. So that's where I start, and I figure out the dialogue depending on the animals.
Okay.
You've got to have really good, clear headshots of animals, especially birds, because that's what I'm working from. I don't work from somebody's pictures for copyright. All those illustrations are based on my photography and my nature photography.
Okay.
So you really have to have good, clean shots. And then I also have models like Jack. Jack is more than a pretty face. Jack helps give me a 3D effect.
Okay, yes,
So
I can see that.
I don't want just a picture of a rabbit standing. I maybe want him dancing or digging or whatever. So having a puppet, I have a variety of puppets now, and that helps let's create the 3D. And I don't want a cartoon face. I want something children can say, that's a rabbit, Mommy, when they're out. That's a robin, Mommy.
Right.
So that's why, it's one of the reasons why I brought Jack along today as an example of one of the models I use for my stories.
Okay. Well, you touched on this a little bit already, mentioning your background being raised on a farm and being a nature photographer. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you choose to personify or anthropomorphize your characters?
Well, I don't like to say amorphize. I think basically I try to make it more natural and try to have the characteristics of an animal in the story. For example, if it is a black squirrel, they're bossy compared to a gray squirrel or a red squirrel. So you work that in with the personality of the animal. Geese are very family-oriented. And there is a goose who will sit there watching patrol while the other geese are in the water. And that's their role. So I'm not adding templating an adult personality. That's the goose's role. When you watch them in the water practicing, they all have a position. My job is to watch the position and try to teach children about the position. When a bee is going for honey, I'm watching how the bee gathers it. I'm describing how the bee gathers it. Because it's information. It's not two rabbits having a tea party.
Right.
It's to teach kids about nature, natural history, geography, and some music. So I'm incorporating the behavioral characteristics of the animals in my stories.
Okay.
So it's not like Franklin the turtle where they all go off to school and have a spelling test.
Okay.
I can't spell anyways.
So, well, by extension, you and I actually had a chance to speak briefly before this interview,
Right.
and I was asking a little bit about the deeper meanings in your story. So can you talk to the themes that you represent in your stories or espouse upon, as well as perhaps allegory?
Well, my first story was this one. This is Gracie's Flights of Fancy. There is photography. Maybe Sam, you want to hold it like that?
Absolutely. There is definitely photography here.
Absolutely. And when I took that picture, that little gosling was absolutely fearless, just stared right in the camera. No hesitation whatsoever.
There's the gosling. Boom, boom.
And confidence, right?
Right.
So it got me thinking about this gosling has presence. And so the story is about finding your voice and your body image. Geese turn gray and they're scraggly. They lose it down very quickly. Children may not realize that. And they're scrawny. So kids go through the same thing. Well, Gracie doesn't want to do that. So she thinks life is greener on the other side of the creek. So she joins a band called Pond Scum. The beaver's a drummer, the frog's a singer, but Gracie can't sing.
Right.
You ever heard of geese? Honk? Can't sing. Honk? Can't sing. So Gracie ends up looking for other animals to come listen to the animals, the two perform, but she doesn't realize other animals like the frogs, like the otter, loves frogs, loves the legs, they're wonderful legs. And so children, when they're first learning about the rules of the road, take everything literal. They don't understand the body language, the body cues. They're completely innocent. Well, Gracie's the innocent too. She finds a dog at the end who gives her advice about, doesn't matter, you turn gray, it's okay. I'm retired and I'm still doing things. So she goes home and she finds a wolf who she thinks is a dog. And she starts talking to him. And of course, we won't spoil the ending of the story, but that's how children are. They take one experience and they build on to the next experience. But in the end, she finds her voice and comes back. There's the dog.
There's the dog, yep.
And the next one is the wolf practicing for the three little pigs. I'll huff and puff and blow your house down. And so she's scared and she honks and scares away the wolf.
There we go, honk honk, scaring away the wolf. There's the wolf.
He's just a struggling actor trying to get a part in the role of three little pigs.
Oh dear, misunderstood.
Exactly, misunderstood. It happens all the time in the animal world.
Oh, Jack.
And it's true, they just don't get us. So this is about body image.
Okay.
But also children will learn, because the animals talk about which is better, black, white, or gray. You can easily say no more, take that over to communities in their school.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And then that's how I kind of get around having that safe conversation about color.
Then who really is your target audience? Is it just the children?
Well, I'm trying to get adults to read more. And some adults will, because a parable or a fable are different levels of reading, depending on your age, like any story. Mm-hmm. You could read it in your 20s, you could read it in your 30s, you could read it in your 60s. You'll take away different. So the jokes and the humor, so I want parents, grandparents to read to the kids. So they'll get the jokes. Some of the jokes kids will get, but the adults will get. When the beaver's trying different foods to change his hair color. Shades of the 1960s. Mm-hmm. Duh. So they'll get that reference.
Or today.
Or they'll get that reference
Yeah.
today.
Mm-hmm.
But the kids will think it's a silly thing.
Right, right. I understand. So there's something there for
And when
an
people
older audience
are
as well.
teaching in school, teachers can pull out the various lessons because there's layers.
Right, right.
It's just not, we had a birthday party, happy ending, and everyone went home with cries. So I'm careful about layering the stories.
Now, over how long have you written your books, and how many books have you written in total?
Well, I first started to write, be my 10th anniversary coming up soon.
Congratulations.
And I have self-published 13 books,
Okay.
and there's 3 more in the hopper.
Okay. They're close to being published?
Well, one is, and it's about a dinosaur book. I want to be a dinosaur.
Okay.
That will certainly appeal to all of us 60-plus people.
You didn't have any dinosaurs on the farm you were raised in, right? That would really be...
There might be. And the shells, who knows? People are always excavating and finding bones. So you will never know.
Now, over those 10 years, how has your writing evolved?
Well, this is my very first book.
Okay.
So it's rather a very sort of simple storyline.
Flights of Fancy. All right. Which one is your last book?
This is my most recent one. It's Captain Cat's
Captain Cat's on the Race for the Moon.
and the Race to the Moon.
Okay.
So this is for a different age group. This would be, I read this to preschool, grade 1, grade 2.
Mm-hmm.
So we rehearse all the parts, and they get to be the rabbit, they get to dance like a butterfly, they get to sing like a frog. This one's a little more nuanced. This would be grade 3 and grade 4.
Okay. So let's take a look inside for a moment here.
Yes,
And we took a look at Gracie's Flights of Fancy, and we can even see a very different style of illustration.
I try to get the illustrations to suit the story.
Okay.
I don't like to repeat myself. This is more of a fanciful story. It's an allegory
Okay.
based on the Gibraltar and the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
So you see the color palette.
Yeah, it's much brighter.
It's much brighter because of the Caribbean. And in Gibraltar, when I visited, it was very sunny.
I mean, I'm mildly colorblind, and these colors are jumping out at me from
Good.
the page.
Well, that's the whole point. That is, yeah, that's the whole point.
Wow. A blue striped elephant that eats only purple grapes. That clashes.
Yes, it does. It
Even
does.
for me, that clashes.
Uh-huh. But Queen Bella likes to collect exotic animals, one-of-a-kind animals. So I thought, well, I have to come up with exotic animals no one has ever heard of.
Mm-hmm.
Shades of Dr. Seuss, thank you, Dr. Seuss. So I thought, okay,
And you even have a world map here.
yes,
And you talk about her palace in Gibraltar,
Yes.
across the Atlantic Ocean and the race with him in the Caribbean.
because there is a building that looks very much like that in Gibraltar. If you go to the Rock of Gibraltar, it has rather a Moorish architectural feel to
Yes.
it. So that became her palace.
Okay.
So again, it's based on my nature and travel photography. So I've been to these places. I've been to the Caribbean. I've sailed across the Atlantic Ocean.
Well, at the risk of sounding controversial, and I know we could probably edit this out, we also talked a little bit about who the characters might represent. Is that something you'd like to address?
Well, it could, sure. The characters can address, let's take Queen Bella. Queen Bella could be a lot of different politicians now who are looking at the future for their people in terms of purely economic gain and leverage. So Queen Bella wants to buy the ship that flies to the moon, Because if you can control the orbit of the moon, you control the orbit of tides. And you do that, ships depend on tides that are coming and going for commercial gains. Now that's a more complex ideal for grade 3 and 4, even some adults to understand. But it's important to understand the difference about science, applied science and pure science. Queen Bella represents applied science, commercial gain. Now we've got countries looking at the moon right now for stop off to Mars or to exploit for minerals.
Right.
There's more than just one country right now. We don't need to name any countries. We know who they are. We also have people of pure science, you know, at Carleton University.
Yes.
Funding for science for the sake of curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
And the great ideas that come out of curiosity. Her sister Jane, nod to Jane Goodall, was the one who invented the ship. Now, you'll notice it's made out of carved fruits and vegetables.
Yes.
That is a nod to the Philippine people on cruise ships who are master carvers. They can carve everything out of fruit and vegetables. They're wonderful, talented people. So that's a nod to them. I want to show children, how do you get the ideas to make things, to invent? You look around the world. She needs a space arm, so she sees a monkey with a stick going for mangles. Oh, well, I'll just attach the arm to my spaceship, and then I can really reach out and get the moon. Again, it's to teach children, think outside the box. How do we solve a problem? Jane wants to get to the moon, and then we talk about the fuel for her ship. She uses what she sees around her to apply it to create a new product to answer a question of curiosity. Is the moon hot, cold? Does it taste like cheese? I don't know. I want to go. So those are the concepts I'm explaining in this book. They're very complex, but in the sense of a story, they're easy to explain. But it took a lot of thinking to plot out the story. Because we also have Princess Alice, who doesn't want to inherit the family business. She wants to be a pirate. Children don't always want to follow their parents' footsteps, right? So she joins one of the pirates and they go on the race across the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay. Just to shift gears for a moment here. My first cousin in Australia is actually a blossoming children's author, Dimity Powell, and I follow her victories slowly but surely, and she's really coming into her own. What I want to ask to you is, what does it take today to become a children's author? From your perspective, over 10 years and being self-published, what do you need to become a children's author?
A trip to Australia.
A trip to Australia?
I've been there.
Well, maybe, Jack.
I've been there and wrote a book about it. A lot of perseverance. And again, you have to think outside the box. You have to be very realistic about your goals and expectations. We talked with Sonny beforehand, and the thing is that only 1 in 1,000 hits the jackpot and gets commercial success. So if you're in it for that, you might as well go home. If you're in it for other motivations, and I think you've heard some of my motivations today, literacy, creativity, getting children to want to read and write. Now, I brought a little story over here.
Yes, you did. We were looking at this before. It's a story that a young boy wrote for you.
Yes, I met him at the International Optimist Conference, and he bought some of my books, and I gave him one of my puppets, and he came back the next day with this story about Happy the Bear.
Happy the Bear.
And they're going to the restaurant that night.
And he even illustrated it.
And he even illustrated it, you see?
There's Happy the Bear.
That's right.
There's Panda.
And there's Panda, yep.
There's John, there's Mom.
Exactly.
There's a boat made of, I don't know, is that fruit?
And who knows what it could be I think it's probably they were at a smorgasbord. When he said 5 plates of food, I imagine they were at a buffet of some kind.
How did this affect you, receiving this story? What did it mean to you?
Well, it's basically why you're in the business. It's not about money. And it's not about big commercial release. I may never get there, but it doesn't matter at my age and stage of life. If I can reach out and help children, that's really where, I'm grateful for that. Yeah, I'm grateful that kids really need to learn about reading and places that have safe conversations. And be able to feel freedom to create with their own words. I don't want them to live in a world of emojis.
Right.
Happy face, grumpy face.
And texting in general. Right?
Texting in general, and that's how they express their emotions. Little wonder they're frustrated. They don't have the words. They don't have the words to express their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can help children channel that through either words or pictures, I think I've done my job.
Then what does the future hold for Laurie Campbell and Jack? What are your goals, short term and long term?
Well, 3 more books. We've got about a bear and a bee. We've got about animals and what they wear. And long term, well, I'm just open to, because I saw this Auto Book Expo on the Ottawa Independent Writers website, and I thought, what the heck? I'll phone them up. And I think Raymond was the first person I talked to.
Okay.
We had a very nice conversation. And after that, I thought, I've got nothing to lose. So that's how I'm looking at these opportunities. I met 3 very delightful men today, and this has been my first interview. And what more could you ask for?
Well, that's wonderful. How can we obtain your books? Where can we purchase them?
Even more than right now. I can say
That's why you asked me for my credit card number and expiry date, Jack. Now I'm on to you.
Come on now. Come on. How can you resist me? How can you resist me?
I look at him and I told you this. I think Watership Down and that movie affected me for many years.
Oh, dear. We need some milk and cookies afterwards.
Well, no milk. I'm lactose intolerant, but yeah.
Oh, soya?
No. There's no GMO soy going into this body. Thank you. Ginger beer? Maybe. So where can we purchase your books?
You can purchase my books direct from me.
Okay.
I'm the salesperson. Like right now, if you want these books, you can buy them.
Where would the average person coming into the Book Expo, for instance, the Ottawa Book Expo, purchase your books? Will you have a setup
Yes,
there?
I will have a setup there.
Okay.
I'll probably bring 9 of them. I have 13. I don't think the table's big enough. And people get confused if there's too many books. They walk away, they don't buy anything.
Right.
So I try to have enough for each age group.
Okay.
I'll think about that. I do have a website.
Yes, I was just about to ask. What is your website?
It's storytellerlaurie.com.
Storytellerlaurie.com. Okay. All one word.
All one word, and people can read the first 10 pages of each of my books.
Okay. Get them hooked.
Get them hooked, and also tell people where I'm going to be selling my books next.
Okay, so they can't purchase them from your website directly, but...
They can directly, but then they have to pay for shipping.
I see.
And shipping makes children's books expensive.
Okay.
So I can do a better deal with them if they come and see me at the Ottawa Book Expo. And the more they buy, the more they save. So that's why I want them to come to the show and buy the books from me there.
Okay.
I am the bookstore, and I'm coming to you.
Okay, you are the bookstore, and you're coming to us.
That's right.
With that, is there anything else you would like to add?
Just to thank Raymond and Sunny and Sam today.
You're welcome.
For this delightful opportunity. It's my first interview. I hope I've done you guys proud. And I look forward to seeing you guys on Sunday, October the 20th at the Horticulture Building, Lansdowne Park.
That's right. Thank you very much. In conjunction with the Ottawa Farmers Market,
Yes.
Our featured author here is Laurie Campbell. Thank you so much
You're
for this
welcome.
interview. It was a real pleasure.
It was a pleasure
and a
meeting
delight
you too, Sam.
Interviewing you.
All
and I
right.
just want to mention as well, we have a website for more information. We have the ottawabookexpo.ca. So ottawabookexpo.ca if you want more information about the Book Expo, as well as ottawafair.ca for more information about the simultaneous Ottawa Fair. So with that, thank you very much. Laurie, once again, we'll see you at the Ottawa Book Expo.
Yes.
We'll see Jack. Thank you,
Yes,
Jack,
yes,
at
yes,
the Ottawa
I'll be
Book
there, I'll be
Expo.
there. Signing autographs.
Signing autographs, absolutely nibbling away at the paper, and
Never.
hopefully not leaving little rabbit
No,
pellets everywhere.
No.
And then once again, all the best of luck in the future in your authorship and illustrations, and I'm sure we'll hear more from you again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.